If you feel busy but not fulfilled, stimulated but not focused, this video is for you. For the month of February, I'm diving into those invisible chains that are keeping us stuck, unmotivated, lazy, procrastinating, and just those things that keep us away from becoming the highest version of ourselves. A lot of people focus too much on the external when it comes to trying to understand why they can't move from one stage of life to the next or one season to the next season. And it's not about those external things, it's about what's going on the inside, but it shows up physically. So today we're going to talk about distraction. Distraction is the new addiction. It's what is keeping us behind, is what's keeping us stuck, and what's keeping us brainwashed. A lot of people don't know that they're distracted. They think that they're just living their lives, they're just having a good time, they're just, doing things that make themselves feel good, but that is actually what's causing you to stay stuck and stay in this constant state of not getting things done, not progressing, not reaching your goals, and just not being focused. So we're going to dive into just this idea of distraction as we continue through this series of just awakening and becoming aware of those things that's keeping you away from becoming the best version of yourself, keeping you from becoming a leader of your life. The problem with distraction is that basically you are constantly escaping. So I have a video about this already. I talked about it in my 7-day series. So I'm just kind of really going over it again because it's very important that you guys understand this. Dopamine has just been on overdrive. We got social media, we got the TV shows, we got the movies. Today's the Super Bowl. We got all these things that keep us away from taking care of our business, from getting things done, and to staying focused on our higher purpose. An example of this on a bigger scale, there's a guy from my hometown who made it to the NBA, and he had a game here in Atlanta a couple of days ago. Every single person from our hometown, literally, including like my family members, came to Atlanta for this game. The reason why that is a problem is because these same people who came to Atlanta just for this game, just to post it on their phones, just to talk about it, are the same people who are living the same life over and over again. These are people who are not reaching any goals, who are not making any progress, but they're on social media arguing about someone they've never met in their lives, someone they have no connection to. And yeah, I'm not saying it's something wrong with wanting to be supportive, but it's like to go out of your way to support someone, to be involved and engaged in something that has nothing to do with you, that's not helping you get anywhere in life, is a huge problem. It's a way to escape. So distraction is all about the fact that most of us find things to keep us distracted from our actual problems, from our actual goals, and it's just what's keeping us from staying focused on those hard things, those things that make us uncomfortable. So distraction is keeping people from sitting with yourself. It's keeping you from sitting with yourself. It keeps you from being in silence, from looking at your actual goals, from reading those Bible scriptures, to just having that solitude. For example, when you are in the car on your way to work, you're like quick to put on music. You're quick to call someone. Whenever you are running errands, getting things done, the first thing you do is think about who you're going to call to gossip, to just talk. You never do anything by yourself. You're scared to go out to eat by yourself. You're scared to be bored. A lot of people don't want to be bored anymore. They're always trying to find something to do because they don't want to sit with those emotions that they may be feeling. So distraction is just a huge problem in today's society. More examples are, like I said, social media. The average person is spending hours of their day scrolling on TikTok, on Instagram, feeding into all the celebrity drama, the celebrity gossip, even like all of the government stuff that's going on, all the stuff with Trump and politics. People who can sit and argue about that all day when it's not their career, it's not what they're being called to do. They're just wasting time. They're just finding meaning outside of what they should be finding meaning in. And it's just honestly becoming what's killing us and what's keeping us from not being depressed, from not being the best version of ourselves, and from not being leaders. You can't be a leader of your life if you're being controlled by these distractions, by these ways of escapism. Ultimately, distraction kills leadership. I think about myself all the time as someone who is in a leadership position on how I would show up at work if I was constantly distracted. I see it in other leaders in my workplace of how they operate, being that they are heavily distracted by whatever they have going on in their personal lives. And I'm not saying that you can't have personal things going on, but it's very evident when people are so distracted by things that literally don't matter and are not bringing them any type of clarity or success or just focus. And when you are distracted, you don't have any attention span. You can't stay focused on, leading your team, from leading your life, from, going to the gym, from doing whatever it is you want to do for your business or for your career. And if you don't have clarity, you won't follow through on anything. And then when you're not in silence, when you can't deal with being in silence, when you can't deal with sitting with yourself and hearing your own thoughts and hearing from God, you won't have any clarity. You won't be able to make decisions that actually make sense. You won't be able to actually sit down and write a plan. When you don't have clarity, you will be reacting in life instead of being proactive over your life. You can't really make decisions that make sense. You're just reacting based on whatever comes up because you can't sit in silence. You don't have that solitude. You don't know how you truly feel about anything. You don't know who you really are. And so that is what happens when you don't have any type of clarity in your life, which is coming from being distracted. When you are distracted, decisions will be unclear. You won't have any strong foundation with your decision making. You're just doing things based on how you feel in that moment. And the thing about being distracted is you are operating out of emotion. You don't want to sit with those feelings that you have, so you just decide to do something else instead. That's operating out of emotion, versus if you were disciplined, you were focused, you can make more decisions based on logic and a well thought out plan versus how you're feeling in that exact moment. As I mentioned, distraction is just a way for you to not confront those negative emotions. You want to avoid boredom. You want to avoid discomfort. You're avoiding feelings of sadness, of anxiety, of being lonely, grief, maybe feeling unfulfilled, having that low self-confidence, stress, anger. Instead of you feeling those emotions and being aware of it and just accepting them for what it is and trying to work through it, you find ways to distract. So I'm just going to list a lot of the ways that people do this. When they are angry or sad, they may reach for the alcohol. They may reach for the drug, the substance use. They may reach for food. They may reach for watching TV. They may reach for spending money. When they talk about what's the little saying? Retail therapy. Yeah, that's a real thing, but it's a thing that's built off of trauma, off of stress. It's built off of those negative emotions. It's not coming from a good, healthy place. So think about what happens when you are feeling these emotions. What are you likely to choose? For me, when I'm not really overwhelmed, but maybe procrastinating, I reach for a TV show. I love to find me a good show to watch. I like watching shows that have 8, 9, 10 seasons because it's easier for me to use it to distract. I'm not really a movie person. I'm more of a series person. Something that keep me going, something that I can keep running back to. When I'm wanting to avoid, editing a YouTube video or recording a YouTube video, I'm quick to put on a TV show. Sometimes with food, when I'm just stressed out, I may reach for some chocolate or some type of sweet to just kind of relieve that tension or that stress or that discomfort. So you got to think about that whenever you are trying to decide what's keeping you distracted instead of facing those emotions that you may be feeling. So distraction is all about escaping from whatever it is you should be focused on, and you find things to do, and it's always external. So as I mentioned, it could be social media scrolling, it could be substance use, it could be food, it could be TV, movies. There are a lot of other extreme things such as gossiping, other extreme things that I don't really want to mention in this video for the sake of YouTube, but there are a lot of things that people get into in order to keep themselves distracted from what they really need to focus on. Money is a good way to track that. You can look at how you're spending your money. If you're not paying your bills, or even if you are paying your bills outside of that, what are you doing with your money? Because most of the things that you want, they cost money. So you got to look at that. Are you spending a lot of money on Uber Eats and DoorDash and eating out? Are you spending a lot of money on alcohol? Are you spending a lot of money on clothes and shoes? What are those things that you're spending money on that is a good indicator of what is distracting you? Even when you think about like low confidence, a lot of people will spend a lot of time focusing on people who have a lot of confidence. That's why people love Beyonce. That's why people love celebrities, because when they don't know their purpose, when they don't know what they're supposed to be doing in life, they love to admire people who do. So you also have to pay attention to that. Everything has a root. Everything that you focus on has a root, and it tells you where your focusing is going, and it also tells you what you aren't focusing on in your own life. This is why inner work is very important to becoming a leader. When you are distracted, like I said earlier, you're not able to make clear decisions, but also it's because when you are distracted, it lets other people know that you are lacking in some area of your life. You know, if you are someone who, as a leader, you're not able to make clear decisions, or you're not able to say the things that needs to be said, it's because there's something going on inner work wise. Maybe you are afraid of, not being accepted by other people, or maybe you have low self-confidence, but people will always be able to tell when you are very distracted in your life. And also, it may not even be tied to your work. It could be tied to other things that you have going on. If you're showing up just in a frenzy, you're not able to focus. You're not able to, like I said, make clear decisions. You're not able to do the hard things or make sure the team is operating at a high level, or at a level that's just sustainable. It's because you have some things that are distracting you at home, and that's very important to address when you are a leader. You must do inner work. You must get to the root of those emotions, of the trauma, of the experiences that you've had, that can tell people or tell yourself what it is you need to work on, so that you won't opt in for those distractions, for those escapisms, for those things that are just pulling you away from being the best version of yourself. Inner work can be anything from just journaling and writing down how you feel, going to therapy, exercising more, eating healthy, doing those things that actually fulfill your spirit and help you to get more in line with the highest version of yourself, and letting go of those things that are just pulling you away from who you truly are. So what you need to do before you watch my next video that's going to come out is become aware of your distractions. So 1, follow the money. Figure out what you're spending your money on. That will definitely tell you what is keeping you distracted. Also, notice what you reach for when you're uncomfortable. So like I said, when you are sad, anxious, stressed out, what are you doing? Are you picking up your phone and scrolling? Are you eating a lot? Are you laying in bed more often? Are you drinking a lot more? Are you going out to the club more? What are you doing when you are uncomfortable? And then notice what you do when you are in silence, when you have those opportunities to be in solitude, to pray, to just meditate, or just sit with yourself. What are you choosing to do instead? Are you calling people? Are you once again scrolling? Are you watching a TV show? Are you once again choosing to go out? What are you doing in those moments when you are in silence, or when you are uncomfortable, when you're angry, when you're sad, when you're stressed out, when you're anxious, when you're feeling low self-worth, low self-confidence? What are you doing in those times? And that will tell you what is keeping you distracted. So watch last week's video, or the last video when I talked about just becoming aware of the fact that you are not in control. There are things that are controlling you. And then watch this video, because this month is all about making you aware of those invisible chains in your life that are keeping you away from being the highest version of yourself, keeping you away from being a leader of your life. I hope you guys can take something from this video. I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.